On April 9th, there was a court hearing regarding NewJeans' objection to a previous injunction that basically said that, okay, NewJeans, you got to go back to ADOR. You cannot do your own things on your own. You got to go back to ADOR and do your activities under ADOR, right? NewJeans objected, and a couple days ago, there were reports that say that NewJeans requested to the court that the hearing to be held privately, right, behind closed doors. And as it turns out, it did take place privately, but it was held under 12 minutes. So let's find out what actually happened. Here's an article titled, NewJeans Injunction Appeal Hearing Held Privately for 12 Minutes. A court hearing was held on April 9th regarding NewJeans' objection to a previous injunction that had blocked the group from pursuing independent activities, citing that their exclusive contract with ADOR had not yet ended. The Seoul Central District Court Civil Division 50, Chief Judge Kim Sang-hoon, and it's the same judge that made the injunction decision. Some bunnies say that it's a different judge, so they have some hopes to win the case, but yeah, it's the same judge. So they held the hearing after all 5 members of NewJeans filed an objection against the court's prior decision, which sided with ADOR by prohibiting the group from signing advertising deals or carrying out promotional activities independently. Okay, so was there anything significant that happened? Let's find out. The hearing was conducted behind closed doors and lasted about 12 minutes. Both sides reportedly presented their arguments to the court. After the session, ADOR's legal representative told reporters there have been no significant changes in circumstances since the injunction decision. Both parties simply stated their positions, and that was it. All right, that's it. As for why the hearing was private, the representative said it was requested by NewJeans' side. Also, one of the members is a minor, which may have factored into the decision. To be exact, 2 of the 멤버 중 미성년자가 있어서 그런 것 같다. So to translate more exactly, 2 of the members are minors, which may have factored into the decision. But he declined to go into further detail. NewJeans' legal representative remained silent when asked by reporters whether future hearings would also be closed, why a new lawyer had been appointed, and how this hearing compared to the previous one. Previously, the court had fully accepted ADOR's request for an injunction to preserve its status as the group's management agency and to block the members from signing independent advertising deals. With the court's decision, ADOR retains recognition as the group's official agency under the terms of the exclusive contract. As a result, NewJeans members are barred from conducting any music-related or commercial activities, such as songwriting, composing, performing, appearing on broadcast, or signing advertisement deals, without ADOR's approval. The court rejected NewJeans' claim that ADOR had breached the exclusive contract by creating a production vacuum after the dismissal of former CEO Jin. The court noted that ADOR had fulfilled most of its contractual obligations, including financial settlements, and suggested that the group's unilateral notice to terminate the contract had actually disrupted ADOR's ability to carry out its management duties. The ruling also emphasized that if the members were to walk away from the exclusive contract on their own, ADOR would face significant financial damage. It added that if the members continued under a new group name, it could severely harm both the brand value of NewJeans and ADOR's reputation as a management agency. Meanwhile, on April 3rd, the first hearing for ADOR's separate lawsuit to confirm the validity of the exclusive contract with NewJeans was also held at the Seoul Central District Court Civil Division 41. At the time, ADOR's lawyers expressed openness to a possible settlement when the court asked if reconciliation was on the table. NewJeans' side responded, given the members' current emotional state, we don't think that's something we can realistically consider right now. And ADOR is still working hard to, work for NewJeans and to protect NewJeans' IP. Because today they made this announcement through their social media channel. Update on legal proceedings against violations of artists' rights. Hello, this is ADOR. We would like to provide an update on our legal actions to protect NewJeans members against violations of their rights. Since the debut, ADOR has engaged in continuous monitoring and legal action against malicious posts. Due to the significant escalation in both the volume and severity of such content, we have reinforced our response efforts, including the appointment of additional personnel dedicated exclusive to this matter. ADOR has collected evidence and issued takedown requests across various online communities and social media platforms, including DC Inside, Ilbe, Napalm, FN Korea, Neighbor Blind, RudyWeb, Daku, Pumpu, X, and YouTube for content that violates the artist's rights by including insults directed at the artist's nationality or appearance, the spread of groundless information, fake news, invasion of privacy, and the use of severe profanity and slurs. And it goes on. Case deemed particularly malicious and severe to the extent that they may constitute criminal acts are under the subject of criminal complaints. ADOR has recently filed a complaint with the Seoul Yongsan Police Station and, through continued monitoring and evidence collection, plans to submit additional complaints. And yes, this is their job. Although the so-called team bunnies are doing their own things to act like they're the agency for NewJeans. And it goes on something about taking firm action against deepfake crimes. Then there will be no leniency or settlement under any circumstances in the legal proceedings regarding the artist's rights. We are always grateful for the affection and dedication shown by the fans of NewJeans. ADOR will continue to work to ensure that the rights of artists are fully protected. Thank you. So, yeah, once again, ADOR is following what they said in court, and they're doing their job to protect NewJeans' IP. But of course, the fans, the so-called fans who are commenting under this post, are like calling ADOR statements insincere, performative, and too late. Honestly, it's obvious you are being dishonest, and I'm not buying it. That's a major trust red flag. Okay, you're so back after a 2 months hiatus. Looks like someone has to drag their back in the building because of the lawsuits piling up. ADOR moves way too late. What is it? Are they understaffed, or is it just a performance to make the judge and the public think they're doing something? Please let the girls go and disappear. We don't want you. So they're acting with like memes, sarcasm, and conspiracy level takes. And, to be fair, you can criticize a company, sure, but at least you have to know what you're talking about, right? So that's what's been happening with the fans who are supporting NewJeans' decision to go all the way in terms of their legal actions, and who are still seemingly supporting Minjin. Now, what about those fans who want NewJeans? Oh, actually, let me say one more thing. So these fans who want NewJeans to, or who believe that NewJeans still has a slim chance to win this case, are saying to each other that they need to help Sejong lawyers to do a better job. So this post became kind of viral within the fandom. I think we need to help Sejong. I trust them, of course, but trust alone doesn't feel like enough anymore. What I realized today is, while filtering the timeline and reporting malicious posts is important, what matters most right now is sharing or submitting anything that could serve as evidence for Sejong. There you go. Detectives, bunnies, who think they're better than Sejong lawyers. And here's another post. Hello to our beloved rabbits or bunnies. Our precious NewJeans is currently going through an incredibly important legal battle, one that may shape the course of their lives. Yesterday marked the first hearing in the main lawsuit, and they are now preparing for the appeal hearing scheduled for April 9th. So this was from a few days ago. In light of the court's previous decision to grant the injunction, NewJeans' activities are currently on hold, while we have been reporting malicious posts and working to clean up timelines, which are absolutely important steps. I believe that the most urgent priority now is a legal battle right in front of us. Wow. Because the injunction was already granted once, we cannot afford to feel at ease. Simply trusting, here we go. Simply trusting and waiting on NewJeans' legal team, Shin and Kim LLP, aka Sejong, may not be enough to provide real support for NewJeans. That's why I'm reaching out like this. I believe the rabid community's help is truly needed right now. NewJeans' legal team is currently gathering evidence to build a stronger case and secure a favorable ruling in court. If you have any materials that could legally support NewJeans, anything you have seen or saved over the past year, please consider submitting them. What you have might actually help. Whether or not the evidence they used will be up to the legal team, Shin and Kim, to decide. If you'd like to send something, please email to report@shinkim.com. It will be very helpful to include a short note explaining what the material is about. Because of your constant love and support for NewJeans, I feel like I can make this kind of request. Even if it's small, let's come together to help NewJeans reach brighter days. Thank you, NJZBNZ. I would love to see the inbox of Shin and Kim. Like, what kinds of emails that they have sent to Shin and Kim. Now, a lot of people say that the ultimate winners of this battle between NewJeans slash Minijin and ADOR slash HYBE are the lawyers, right? Kim and Jang and Sejong. But when it comes to Sejong, I think I mentioned this briefly last time. Like, what about their public image? They're now being untrusted by even the K-pop fans, and they're and that caused some people to make fun of Sejong. Like, look, what are they doing? You know, because last time during the hearing, they said something like, even though individual points that they have raised, 11 points, are not enough to, allow NewJeans to terminate the contract. When they're combined, they have some sort of magical power or something. I mean, it goes like something like that. And that was kind of ridiculous. And people make fun of them. And now, even these fans believe that Sejong, they cannot simply wait for Sejong to do their job, right? Which is why they have made this post encouraging each other to submit evidence. So I thought that was kind of worth pointing out. Now, what about the fans who want NewJeans to go back to ADOR as soon as possible, thereby following the court's decision? They have sent another protest truck to HYBE building. This was the 4th time that they did this year. And also, these fans are gathering within this online community, and they have deconstructed the court decision so that anybody can understand what is actually going on, right? In case there are some fans or even NewJeans members who have not looked at the actual court decision, right? So to lay out everything in plain terms. All right, let's end with this article. So the thing is, if NewJeans believes that they can win the case by objecting to the court's decision, there should be some grounds, right? So this article kind of talks about that. NewJeans members received over 25 billion Korean won. So what exactly can't they trust ADOR with? All right, here's a remark by the judge during the previous hearing. I have handled cases where idols never got paid once and had to sue just to terminate their contracts. Usually, it's when settlements are delayed or non-existent and trainees need to move on to survive. That's when the trust breaks, but this case is very unusual. 특이한 경우. That's what Judge Chung Ho-il of the Seoul Central District Court Civil Division 41 said during the April 4th hearing in ADOR's lawsuit seeking confirmation of its exclusive contract with NewJeans. The comment implies that most disputes between agencies and artists stem from money, not trust, but in this case it's clearly different. The court will now need to determine what exactly NewJeans means when they say trust has been broken. To do that, it's important to understand their grievances. These were laid out in a legal notice the 5 members sent to ADOR last November. Here's a simplified version of NewJeans' claims. Not to assess whether these demands are legally valid, that's up to the court, but to understand where they're coming from. In response to HYBE's internal remark that we can ditch New and start from scratch, NewJeans asked ADOR to take all necessary steps to defend them as their management agency. Manager staff from another HYBE sub-label reportedly told trainees to ignore Hani. ADOR took no action and allowed the issue to persist. HYBE's PR director allegedly downplayed NewJeans' success. In Japan, the group demanded ADOR address this. Photos and videos from the members' trainee days were leaked to the media without permission and is still online. NewJeans claimed their achievements were being diminished due to pushing of other groups and asked ADOR to rectify this. They also wanted ADOR to resolve unnecessary disputes with director Shin Woo-seok, Dolphin Kidnappers, and the issue of lost work materials from previous projects. ADOR didn't address these demands. The 5 members argued that ADOR's failure to correct these issues constitutes a breach of contract and have declared the exclusive contract void. At their November press conference, they made 2 points. First, ADOR broke the contract. Second, the breach automatically voids the agreement. The media, and here we go, the media isn't focused on who committed the legal breach. That's for the court to decide. Reporters are more curious about whether a contract can be dissolved by just one side's notice and what that means for the K-pop system itself. Even if ADOR had unilaterally canceled the contract, reporters would have asked the same question, right? Because a contract is supposed to be a mutual legal agreement. When asked this question, NewJeans responded that the contract was terminated because ADOR broke it, repeating what they have said before. Minji even asked the reporters, "Did you understand that?" 혹시 이해가 되셨을까요? But whether intentional or not, the response didn't actually address the legal question being raised. The biggest issue in this legal battle is clearly the disagreement over the exclusive contract itself. But as the judge noted, this case is unusual. In a K-pop industry where agency-artist conflicts are common, what makes NewJeans versus ADOR stand out is that the dispute isn't about money or payment. Let's go back to the list of grievances. The first major issue is the phrase "ditch New," found in an internal HYBE document. NewJeans claims it meant HYBE was planning to abandon them. However, in its injunction ruling last month, the court noted that the same document also contained multiple suggestions to support NewJeans and concluded the phrase likely didn't mean HYBE was discarding the group, of course. Next is the ignore her remark by an eyelid manager. This became a major issue, so much so that Hani was called as a witness to a National Assembly hearing, which was super ridiculous. That was me saying, by the way, I'm not the reporter. The only solid evidence is CCTV footage, which ADOR submitted in court. In the video, island members greet Hani one by one in the HYBE Artist Lounge, contradicting the ignore claim. As for the pushing of other artists and alleged plagiarism of NewJeans' concept, the court said it was hard to make definitive judgments and concluded that eyelid copying NewJeans was not plagiarism. The biggest and most emotional trigger for the conflict appears to be the ousting of ADOR's former CEO, Min-jin. NewJeans argues that without her and her close team, including a former deputy CEO, ADOR is no longer the same company. It just has the same name. Like fake door, they say. But how did the court see it? The court ruled ADOR has a capacity to recruit a replacement producer. Min-jin's return as CEO is not a valid reason for contract termination. In other words, Min-jin's dismissal doesn't justify NewJeans leaving. Some legal experts argue that NewJeans' reasons for breaking the contract are too minor or weak to hold up in court. Things like whether someone graded Honey or whether training videos were leaked don't typically warrant a full contract termination. There's also growing concern about how heavily the members appear to rely on Min-jin. Another major sticking point is that last year, ADOR reportedly paid each NewJeans member around 5 billion Korean won, roughly 3.7 million USD, totaling over 25 billion Korean won in settlements. Many see this as making it difficult for NewJeans to argue that ADOR breached the contract. More and more people are starting to question what exactly made NewJeans so unwilling to continue working with ADOR that they are now saying a peaceful resolution is impossible. This skepticism is also reflected among some fans. During a truck protest outside the HYBE building on April 7th, a group of bunnies sent a message directed at NewJeans. You say you're 6 members, but the penalty is being paid by the 5. Returning to ADOR is a real win. So there you go. And even though they tried their best to make it seem like they have new evidence to back up their arguments, the fact that the hearing only lasted for 12 minutes says everything, right? Not much difference. And NewJeans fans are losing their patience, and I believe that Sejong law firm is losing their public image. But we'll see how the court decides in the end. All right, with that, I'll wrap it up. Please let me know if you have anything to add to the conversation. And when you write comments, let's always try to stay positive, respectful, and classy. Thank you guys. Peace and love. Bye-bye.